So Halloween 5. That one is one where I really, really like the idea of, but it didn't really work.
What do you like?
Like the connection that Michael and the girl have.
Oh yeah.
Was so successful in that movie, and that works. I hated the mask. They like kind of made his hair windswept out the back, and he just looked like he'd touched an electrical wire. And I like how he survived. He was like, he falls down a little like, oh god, now I'm just gonna recover. And
over a year's time, yeah.
Yeah.
Some guy just like adopts him down the river.
Yeah.
And then I'll watch him for a year.
It
I don't
turns
have
into
a phone.
It's Frankenstein. Like I liked what they were doing with that. They tried to do like the whole Frankenstein thing where like, you're a troubled soul. I'm troubled too. I'm blind. And
well, he wasn't blind.
No, but that's for like that was Frankenstein. And so they were like, well, it worked in that, and that came out in '34. So I think we can.
Yeah, we can.
Nobody remembers that. So they did that. It was so.
So the guy with his bird
so
down the river adopts him, and for a year, I guess he's laying on his back for a year, and it's with his bird. What's that, birdie?
Yeah, it's.
So then. Yeah, on Halloween Eve, a year later, he starts to, with a thunderstorm, with the help of a thunderstorm, much like Frankenstein, he comes to life, and there's a shot where, they started this thing, which I don't think they even knew what the hell they were doing. I think they, that tattoo on his thing, whole thing that I think they said, let's do this shit. And if there's a sixth one, they can worry about it.
Yeah.
So as he wakes up, his hand turns, and you see this tattoo, which makes absolutely no sense, and it never does, and still doesn't. But we'll get to that. And it's like, oh, I guess their way of trying to interject some interest.
They wanted to put a backstory. I think they saw that. They saw that Nightmare on Elm Street worked really well because there's this really complex and interesting backstory with Freddy Krueger. They're like, well, let's enforce the principles of Jason Voorhees on the fourth one. Well, that kind of worked. What else can we do? And they're like, well, I don't know if you've noticed, but A Nightmare on Elm Street seems to be successful. Let's just, we can't have him eat souls. What can we do? And they're like, I know, we'll make him an astronomy symbol, like an astrology symbol on his wrist. And
we won't even explain it.
We won't explain it for 5 years. And then there's the weird cowboy guy who
again, which is there's two elements, I think, which are his little tattoo, which where did that come from? How long has that been there? Both of them are
very, very interesting and successful in number 5.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It works
because
really well in number 5.
Because they don't explain it. So you're like, what can that mean? And, and for 5 years, I was like...
Yeah, there's a great mystery in Halloween 5. And the mystery is left open. And so Halloween 5 kind of works on several levels. It's just not particularly successful on every level, i.e. story.
I think the director they got, I think the movie's got this great visual flair, which is, a lot of people really don't like Halloween 5, but I think that just for visual flair alone, and the opening credit sequence with the, literally flash shots of seeing him, which I think they're supposed to be so quick that they want you to think it's a body or something, but you can tell right away that it's a pumpkin, but it's still a very cool opening scene,
there's a lot in 5 that works. I'd give 5 2.5. I think it's probably the best of the sequels to date at that point, hands down.
Up until 89, you mean?
Yeah, up until 89.
Yeah, I'd probably go, not to ride on his coattails, but probably 2.5 as well. It's not good enough for 3 stars.
No.
We'll leave it at that. The Kathleen Kim made no appearance, so I don't even need to...
That knocks it down a star.
That knocks it down quite a few stars.
So then Halloween 6...
Did you start 5? Shall I start 6?
Yeah, you can do 6.
Halloween 6, by the time Halloween 6, or actually it wasn't Halloween 6, it was Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Kind of Hollywood goes through these fads where they have a number, then they don't, and then they have a number, and they don't. So this was during the time where they didn't have a number.
They'd already killed Freddy and Jason, so they...
Yeah, well, New Line had already, thought they had tried to kill Freddy and Jason at this time. So now, Dimension... Actually, the first time now Dimension's got Halloween series, and by the time it came out, I was so old where it was just like, whatever, let's go see this, you know, but whatever. And it's just a mess. I mean, it's just a mess, you know, Halloween 6. At the time, I thought I did like some of the set pieces. It was very cool after 5 years or whatever, or 6 years. 5 to see Michael Myers in any form back, and you know, you get to hear yet another rendition of the theme, which is something that's kind of fun every time to hear another version, which I kind of thought was pretty good in Halloween 5 as well. I thought what he did with the music, whoever redoes it or whatever, and but now, you know, it's like we got this character that we've had from the first, or from the 4 and 5. It's just turning into such a mess, this Jamie Lloyd, and it's like just like how Laurie Strode had a baby. Now it's just like somehow Jamie Lloyd gets knocked up and.
It's a completely different actress as well.
Yeah, and what is the story
kill her off? I didn't care.
What is the story behind? Did they ask Daniels? I imagine she would have been interested.
I think she was too young, wasn't she? Like, because she was supposed to be 25 or something in Halloween.
Oh.
And she was only like 16 or something like that.
Whatever.
But I think ultimately that was the problem. But.
It's just like,
because I can't imagine that she didn't want to do it. She did 2 more after that.
Yeah, I know. I can't imagine that either.
So I probably just were like, well, she's too young. Let's just pick somebody else.
Right. She was actually in Daylight with Sylvester Stallone a year later.
Yeah. So I mean,
she was on a bigger and better thing.
She the 5th one. Or the 6th, well, going back to the 5th one, the 5th one was dark, and it was the darkest one since the...
Tonally?
No,
tonal.
Tonally. It's the darkest one since the first one, and you never really got that in the sequels.
Yeah.
And I really liked that, and so then I was like excited to watch the 6th one to carry on that tone, because it was really, 5 and 6 go hand in hand like Empire and Jedi. And 6 isn't dark in tone anymore, it's much more like the 4th one, which was kind of shockingly bright, visually, and... It lost its darkness. They tried to put on this weird, mystical backstory that they did in all 3 of the main super villains of the horror movie world in the 90s. Jason gets this weird Necronomicon backstory in Jason Goes to Hell. Freddy gets this weird 3 demon floating things that the dream spirits in him. So they're like, well, let's put that fantasy element into Michael Myers, and he's controlled by the stars, and
and these
cult
people,
and the cultists. And
the opening of that movie when it was like the baby and what's his name, who's kind of a big star now. What's his name? Oh, you don't know he's in there? That guy, he's in. Oh, whatever. He's in there. You know who I'm talking about. That guy who's in. He's in Knocked Up.
Paul Rudd. Paul
Rudd.
I like Paul Rudd. And Paul Rudd.
I thought he was actually good in the movie.
Yeah,
I thought
he
was a really good actor in the movie. But he's like they're doing that pushing on the baby, you know, in the candlelit room, and Paul Rudd when Michael Myers was, you know, whatever, 5 years old. Yeah. And I was like, it was just the beginning of the movie. The credits were still going, and I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah, it was really lame.
You know, and then this cloaked guy is putting this stuff on the baby, and I'm like, oh, what's happening? You know, and.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, to me, it's a mess, and it got better when they finally went. And then the funny thing is, they do this thing, and it's the 3rd Myers house now in the movies. As far as they did, the Myers house in 4 and 5 was a different Myers house, and now we got a Myers house that's different again. And what's so funny is, not only did they try to put that Thorn druid crap with Michael Myers, but they're also doing this kind of lore with the Myers house, like, oh, we're living in the Myers house, and this family's got a daughter who's got some bastard son, Michael Myers' age, from the first movie when he kills his sister, and this kid shows possible homicidal tendencies as he holds the knife to the abusive father, and it's like we're in the so it's like anyone who lives in the Myers house is doomed, you know.
Yeah,
it's just and they just touch on that Myers house thing, and this guy. Is this guy a realtor too? I don't know. It seems like there's a realtor sign in the frickin' somewhere. But anyway, this guy's an asshole. They're in the Myers house. They just touch on that and then they leave it go. And right across the street, I think that Paul Rudd lives with his deaf grandma, and he watches the young
Tommy Wallace back again.
Yeah, Tommy Doyle.
Tommy Doyle.
Oh God, we can't even forget Donald Pleasance's last appearance.
And it was really kind of unfortunate because you could kind of tell he was going downhill in that movie because he was talking like that.
One thing I did like is his introduction in the movie, which I thought was really cool. Well, they're talking. That's another thing that I think it was ridiculous in the beginning of the movie where they had this radio show. That Barry Sims, I think his name is. He's this asshole talk radio host. But anyway, while what's her name? Jamie is trying to go with the baby and go in the bathroom and escape from Michael. You hear in this, whatever it is, a bus station or something, you know, this Barry Sims, whatever. What am I getting at?
Shit! Donald Pleasance.
Oh, yeah. Donald Pleasance's introduction. So anyway, eventually we cut to Donald Pleasance's house, and some caller's asking, whatever happened to that doctor? I thought he died. And Donald Pleasance, I thought it was such a great introduction. He looks right at camera and he goes, he's not dead. Just very much retired, you know. I just thought it was cool, and it was great to see him back. But you're right, he looked so ailing and just like, oh my gosh. There was a scene at the very end of the movie where he's like gonna go confront him, and they cut to a wide shot, and he tries to walk out of the frame, and the poor guy can barely even walk.
It's really unfortunate. And he's a talented dude too.
Oh God, Donald Pleasance. Amazing.
He did more for that series than I think anybody recognizes, even still.
Yeah. So
that's unfortunate.
And there's I'm not a fan anymore so much of like especially Halloween 6. So, but there's since I've kind of stopped being a fan, there's been this huge underground. Have you heard of that? This with the producer's cut and all this different kind of these are unofficial bootleg versions floating around of Halloween 6 that I don't know anything about. There's a guy here on YouTube called Nate, the channel called Nate Dunning Films, and he's actually still in high school, I think, but he's a huge Halloween fan, and he's got like every version of Halloween 6 on these bootleg versions, and it'd be interesting to know. Check out Nate Dunning Films, the channel. It's a pretty cool channel for horror aficionados, so check him out. But I've never seen, all I can think of, the only thing that made me think of it is the atrocious ending, which has to do with, I don't know if it has to do with Donald Pleasance's death, or what the hell it has to do with, but I remember, because me and a friend, the same guy I watched Halloween 4 with on video in '89, we went to see Halloween 6, and I remember when that last shot came and the camera tracks down and sees the mask and the knife, and you hear Donald Pleasance do his final in the history of the world, and then it cuts to the pumpkin and cuts out, and I'm like, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
So so what I'm getting at is I don't know what is in these alternate producer bootleg cuts, but
as far as theatrical cut, not with the Starge.
Oh hell. I guess, shoot, 1.5, I suppose.
I'm going to go with 1.
Yeah, I figured. 1.5 for any remaining, again, just for simply, what's it called? What's that called?
Fond memories.
Fond memories of it. What's that called?
I don't know the word.
Damn,
wow.
We both,
I'm an English major.
He's an English major. He doesn't even know the word, which is...
I think it's because we're in a Halloween stupor, because we're talking about the bad ones.
We're talking about the bad ones. But this pisses me off, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The
nostalgic
aspect, 1.5. So are we doing?
Let's just do 7 and 8 on the next reel.
Yeah. So okay. Thanks
for
watching.
7 and 8.
We're gonna review Halloween Wait, is that?
Halloween.
We're doing 7 and 8.
Yeah, we're gonna do Halloween, Water, and Resurrection
on a separate one. Okay. Stay tuned. Check out the next one.